Mikel Arteta could not hide his bitter disappointment. He said, first of all, the goal that they conceded was unacceptable. It was poor from them, poor defending.
Talk about a midfielder who constantly controls the flow of the game. And it's like Grella knows, when you play with good captains and good leaders, if I'm going to press and close you and I'm willing my team on, they all follow. And that's what's been missing. And also the creative element in the final third is what's been vital missing for Arsenal.
Is it as simple as saying Odegaard is back, Arsenal's back in the title race?
I think it's a huge piece that they were missing that will help them a lot. I think there's still major concerns with who's going to score their goals and how they're going to score them and how pragmatic and compact they got. And sometimes they lose track of the football matches. And now, in a season where they probably had to be less perfect than they were the last two seasons, they're starting to find some struggling. And Nigel and I always had the conversation of they never really went out and got that main center forward.
Yeah.
Like an Osimhen would have been amazing there, and I think they would have been flying at this moment. Then Odegaard coming back, we could be talking about these guys are going to start flying now. But without that center forward, you just have some questions of what they're going to do. It's very one-dimensional through Saka.
I'm so glad that Greg brings that up, because for me, again, we talk about this and people say, oh, we don't need a striker. I'm like, no, Arsenal need a striker. I'm going to stick to my belief in what I see. That last moment of the game, Trossard's chance
Who would you bring in?
That's the difference. I mean, right now, the perfect striker I think would sit Arsenal is Isak. Isak at Newcastle is a striker that they've been interested in, still in the Premier League, doing it for Newcastle. I feel he'll be a great fit for Arsenal. OK,
well, the good news for Arsenal is even though they dropped points, obviously Manchester City did lose. Geoff Shreeves was at Stamford Bridge this afternoon. Let's hear his thoughts on the match.
Well, there's no question who's the happier coach in the press conference afterwards just now. Just for Leicester, Enzo Maresca. Delighted the way that his team is performing, delighted the way they're progressing. He said, look, the others, look at the other teams, Manchester City and Arsenal, they've been together for 5 years. We've only just come together. Happy with his team competing throughout this, and also when he's pointed out to him, that's the first time Chelsea have been third in the table since the end of the 21-22 season. He said, yeah, it's progress. I'm happy with that. So all smiles at the Blues, but for Arsenal, Mikel Arteta could not hide his bitter disappointment. He said, first of all, the goal that they conceded was unacceptable. It was poor from them, poor defending. But perhaps more worrying is that's now 8 points dropped from winning positions so far this season. They only dropped 9 in total last season and 8 the previous from winning positions. There's only 11 games gone so far, so they've got real work to do. When he was asked about Martin Odegaard, he said, well, quite simply, unbelievable. To be out for that length of time and then perform like that for 90-plus minutes is just extraordinary, both physically and mentally. He is worried about Declan Rice and Bukayo Saka. Neither could finish the game. He said they asked to be substituted, so that's a real worry. When it was put to him, it's 9 points the gap now. How concerned he is, he said, look, it's been really, really difficult. It's been a nightmare, to be honest with you. Having players available, injuries and other reasons, obviously referring to the red cards too. He said he's just praying that after the international break, he now has a fully fit squad to choose from. But you could not escape the feeling from him that he knows they are really up against it if they can remain in this title race. Back to you in the studio, Poppy.
Good stuff, Geoff. Thanks so much. Well, you know who will be thrilled with how the title race is going? Arne Slot. He is flying with Liverpool, the 5 points clear at the top of the table. And they have got to be the winners yet again this weekend, Nige, with the 2-0 win against Aston Villa. Sensational performance. It was a great game, and Aston Villa should be proud of their performance as well. But Liverpool are showing their title credentials. You know, Darwin Núñez gets a goal, probably doesn't have the best of first touches, but takes it ever so well, gets a one-on-one after, and then puts it over the bar. What would have expected? But Mo Salah is getting... Are you ever going to give him some credit? I'll give him credit when he does his job and scores goals. You just even said he had a heavy touch on the goal that he scored. And he did have a heavy touch. Did you see his touch? No, but honestly, Arne Slot's been absolutely sensational. And I think the only scepticism that people have about Liverpool being the title favourites is because it's a new manager. No one knew what to expect. That win against Aston Villa, for me, is a massive momentum swing in shift in favour for Liverpool. And I think now with Liverpool as well, with the fan base and in that area, the fans, I think, are starting to slowly buy into it. You're talking about a legend in Mo Salah as well and his performances for the club. And also, for me, the two best centre-back pairings in world football now is Van Dijk and Konate in what they've been doing. As a team from front to back, they are really the real deal. It's like when you put on an old jacket and you find $20 in the pocket. That's what Arne Slot was. You know, you didn't expect it,
But now all of a sudden they're flying, and you could put the two teams together under Klopp and under Slot. It's a very small sample size. And say that could compete with the Klopp's team easily.
Did you find $20 in your pocket this morning?
I have before. Not today, but I have before. Yeah,
he deserves more credit as well, though, because he's gone in there. People are like, oh, you need to make more signings. He's not worried about signings. He said, I've got the players. I'm going to make them better. Gravenbach's transformation now into that midfield role has been absolutely sensational. You know, you've looked at Curtis Jones as well, how much he's developed and gone leaps and bounds. Gakpo, there's no player that's safe in that team, and he rotates and makes the right decision, and tactically he's very, very smart.
I think what he's done effectively is watched a lot of Liverpool and what they do. Obviously, he's going to do his homework, and I think he's made them more practical. I think he's maneuvered it to say, okay, we're going to be a little bit more patient in these moments. We're going to be a little bit more aggressive in these moments, and he's sort of taken the same mold and just made it better.
They're rejuvenated under him, aren't they? You know who else has looked rejuvenated under a bit of fresh management? Manchester United. How good must it feel to be Ruud van Nistelrooy right now, Grell?
It's such a strange place, but this guy's on fire and he's done well. And listen, it's not easy to come into a building and say, hey, listen, guys, I'm going to be your manager for 4 or 5 games, and I need you to give me everything, and I need you to play this brand of football. And to come in, he felt sorry for Ten Hag, but to come in and to win over the locker room and get results, 3 wins, 1 draw in 4 games, 11 goals for. It's 2.75 goals a game, and only concede 3. I mean, this is what the best teams are doing. This is what they look like. This is how they respond. And now, obviously, there's the awkward situation of Amarin's coming in and Ruud van Nistelrooy is going out. And this is a guy, obviously, a club legend. But, he won't be.
We don't know yet.
Well, we talk about players putting themselves in the shop window. He's put himself in the shop window for more managerial roles across Manchester, though. It's all going bad for Manchester City. For the first time ever in Pep Guardiola's career, he's lost 4 games on the bounce. It hasn't happened for City since, 2003? It's been 20 years now since they've found themselves in this moment.
They're definitely conceding a lot more goals. But this is what I would say. It's more on the individual players. This is not something we can say it's on Pep Guardiola's feet. He's making tactical changes. He's making the wrong decisions. No, these are the players who have to take responsibility. And I think we're going to learn more about the players, as well as Pep thrives in these type of moments. He's going to want to use this as motivation for the players to say, look, everyone thinks the world is ending at City. It's the end of the era. This is what he loves in these type of moments, to see what his players are about and to challenge himself as a manager.
Will they be in the title race come the summer?
You have to be an absolute imbecile to think that Manchester City are not in the Premier League title race.
Sorry for anyone who thinks that.
if you think Manchester City are not in the title race, you don't know nothing about football. They are well and truly in this title race.
You can't count them out. But we spoke to Geoff Shreeves the other day about Pep. He saw his post-match interview. I think that was the most telling thing, was like, he's usually very sharp and energetic and has a sharp response for the media, but he kind of had this like very slow, tired, lethargic answer for everything. Like, he came out and said, oh, maybe another team deserves to win the Premier League. And so that's a little bit the worry with the gloominess of the charges against them, and not knowing his future. I think there's a little bit of gloominess around
Maybe a bit stale as well. Bernardo Silva said it's the darkest time at Manchester City. Maybe the international break is going to come good for them. Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham, maybe they're hoping the international break is going to turn things around for them too.
Yeah, it's a team and a bunch of players that you actually want to get behind, if you're a neutral fan, because they play some good stuff and they score some good goals and they have a lot of possession and they play with a high line, like all the things we talk about, what modern football sort of demands. But then they just don't get the job done in games where they should get the job done, and they don't win games where things are not going perfectly for them. And so on the results and in the table, they struggle.
It's Tottenham being Tottenham. I know, honestly, it's Tottenham. What we expect, and this is what we expect from Tottenham. They go get 2 results. You think finally they've shown some backbone, they've shown some resilience, and then they go and lose to Galatasaray and lose to Ipswich. But for me, Ipswich need to get more credit because they were sensational today. That has been the performance of the season. Smodics and Delap with a goal, 2 young, exciting players. Ipswich by far were the better team and deserve that result today.